So we're going to start off the evening with Eusebio playing something on his guitar. He is now singing his writing, so to some extent it's still writing and creative writing, it's just now in song. So thank you, Eusebio. A big thank you to Alex for organizing the MBT Writing Workshop for so many years now. We're going on 5? How many years was it when we were in California, Jennifer? Visiting Napa Valley?
2, I think, two years ago.
So when I say Napa Valley, I actually mean Vacaville, which is the non-fancy area that is way east of Napa Valley. So we were driving around Vacaville and we ran into this ranch over there. And this song's about that ranch. We pulled over to the side of the road and this song kind of came to us spontaneously, and we as a family started singing it. The chorus. They'll join in on me. With me, right, Jennifer? Yeah. Way out in California, down Vacaville Way, lies a magic ranch where the ponies play. They gallop up the hills and canter down the dales, trotting under the herds, down those equine trails. This is the chorus. You'll learn to sing along to it. Shetland Pony Ranch. Shetland Pony Ranch, it's a ranch full of Shetland ponies. Ain't no full size there, only midget mares on a ranch full of Shetland ponies. Yeehaw! Feel free to jump in when the spirit moves you. If you're driving fast, it's real easy to miss, so slow your roll and you find true bliss. 'Cause watching tiny horses prancing away is gonna make you laugh and they'll make your day. Shetland Pony Ranch, Shetland Pony Ranch, it's a ranch full of Shetland ponies. Ain't no full size there, only midget mares on a ranch full of Shetland ponies. Yeehaw! So stop your car and pull up next to the gate and think about the odd twists of fate that brought you out here on such a fine spring day to witness such joy in tiny horse ways. Here we go, here's the chorus again. Shetland Pony Ranch, Shetland Pony Ranch, it's a ranch full of Shetland ponies. Yeah, couple times there. Yeah, only midget mares on a ranch full of Shetland ponies. Now I know you're wondering if what you've heard is true, if everything about them is petite and cute. Now I'm right here to say you're in for a shock, 'cause those Shetland pony stallions, they wear great big socks. Shetland Pony Ranch, Shetland Pony Ranch, it's a ranch full of Shetland ponies. Ain't no full size there, only midget mares on a ranch full of Shetland ponies. Thank you, guys. Thanks for singing along. I'd like to introduce our first reader today, and she's been with the Writing Workshop for a couple of years now, and her name's Tina Bhaga.
preface this story since it's an excerpt of a longer piece, so you have some context. There's a Hindu myth that is an origin story. Let me back up. Is anybody familiar with a festival called Holi, where you throw color at each other and everybody ends up kind of rainbowy? So there's a myth related to that festival, and I grew up reading it, and I grew up kind of disturbed by it. So I decided to reimagine it, this time from the perspective of the demon witch. Her name is Holika, and she has twin brothers that are older than her, and her mother is a earth goddess and her father is a sage. So she's got a healthy lineage. I'll begin. Part 3, Awake. Her footfalls are muffled by the carpet of leaves and moss on the forest floor. She crouches down occasionally, nose to soil, to explore a new plant. Barefoot, she likes the feel of the cool earth as she burrows her toes down. Feathered antennae and delicate insect feet tickle her legs as the ants and beetles travel in their scent lines. She enjoys coming at night to pick her herbs and mushrooms. The tree leaves and bark are illuminated silver in the starlight, and she's free to hum and speak to herself, accompanied by the singing of the cicadas and owls in the velvet gloom. But she's come tonight searching for something far more elusive than the green thing she's familiar with. She stands in the sliver of moonglow, feet planted snug underground to tap into the energy lines, like Amma had taught her. She cuts a slit in her thumb and lets the blood drip down to the earth. She closes her eyes and utters the seeker spell, like fine like, like fine like, like fine like, again and again, until a vision comes to her. She follows it as it leads her deep into the heart of the woods. There, that oddly warped tree, its curves and branched edges are human-like, and it seems to be whispering. It's just the wind in the leaves, Holika mumbles, but her skin begins to itch, her nostrils twitch, and the compass in her chest pulls her toward the tree. She approaches cautiously to touch. She feels hair that's been matted and caked with lichen and bird droppings until it's become part of the tree. The sound she hears comes from lips that have lost their supple tissue and become bracken and ridged like bark. The man and tree have become symbiotic at some point. She senses the mingling of blood and sap. She had found her brother at last. She kneels down and curls up like a pill bug in the nest of roots that is his lap. Where she touches him, he becomes less tree and more human. She lays her head against the expanse of his chest. The hair is soft and nubbly, now flecked with white and gray. And in some places, she feels the hard whorls of tree knots. She presses her ear to one of these and can hear his heartbeat and the murmurs of him repeating the mantras, the holy words. Yaksh, when will you come back to us? She asks her brother tree. The branches stir and she feels a grumble from him as his meditation is penetrated and disturbed by her voice. I discovered why Hiran was killed, she tells him, knowing this will capture his attention. The tree stills and listens. Our brother became obsessed with proving himself stronger than all the creatures and gods. He did penance, like you're doing now, to gain strength and dominion over all the worlds. Hiran then did the unthinkable. He captured our great-great-grandmother Earth and held her prisoner. All life was withering without her. So the god Vishnu took the form of a cosmic boar, defeated him, and with its tusks lifted her from the black hole that she'd been trapped within. Holika pauses to see how Yaksh reacts to the difficult truth about their brother. He's still listening, so she continues. Hiran's pride consumed him until he betrayed his own family. We have every right to be angry and to grieve our brother's loss. I can't understand what it's like to lose a twin as you have, but you have something real. You have a wife, a child, and a kingdom. It's time for you to leave the spirit world and return to us. She stands up then, pricks another finger, and presses it against her brother tree. The blood curdles to pomegranate seeds and drop beside the tree where they sink into the tangle of roots. You have until tomorrow to decide. If you come with me, I can help you return to your human form, but if you choose to stay, I won't have the power to release you again. She walks away to wait by the edge of the forest. The next morning, a slow-moving creature emerges from the thicket and stumbles toward her, its gait creaky and uncertain. She smiles, shaking her head. He needs a barber and an epic scrub. Part 4, Descent. Yaksh finds it difficult at first to be back in the world he left. He tries to reacquaint himself with his wife Kaya and understand his son Prahlad, but they're strangers to him. They've all gone back to live in their palace, but its marble hallways and fountain courtyards echo hollowly. The only things that feel real to him are the blessings he acquired from the mighty god Brahma for his penance in the forest. As payment for his devotions, Yaksh has extracted the closest thing to immortality. He can't be killed by man or animal during the day or night, water, by air, nor by any weapon. He's unstoppable. His people hear the royal decrees announced. King Yaksh is a god and will be revered as such. Anyone found praying to others will be punished. The king's new law results in his treasury doubling, then quadrupling. All of the offerings that his people had previously given at the temples and road shrines now came to him. The ballooning coffers allow him to build legions and conquer surrounding kingdoms. He wastes no time in claiming dominion over an expanding empire. His boundless power, vast territories, and golden hoard fill the emptiness inside. He's drunk with the thrill of victory and pursuit of wealth. But he needs more to prolong the feeling of intoxication. Meanwhile, at home, Prahlad quietly defies his father's command. Unaccustomed to the opulence and constraints of a regimented royal life, he slips past the guards frequently to join the farmers' children splashing in the river, or to help an old widow gather wood in return for her stories and crispy lentil cakes. The early influence of his mother's gentle strength, Narada's sagely wisdom, and Holika's earth worship had shaped his character. Curious, he continues his education in the homes of his subjects, who are in turn charmed by their princeling and open their hearts to him. In time, Prahlad is able to see through the king's bluster and smell his terror of death. Because of this, he neither believes in his father's omniscience nor fears him. When Yaksh returns to his capital and hears of this, he's enraged. I can't allow Prahlad's betrayal to fester. The people are watching and will doubt my power if I don't make an example of him. His fractured mind grasps desperately for a reason. No true son of mine would challenge my word. He brings his wife Kaya to him and interrogates her. You weren't pregnant when I left to do penance, were you? Kaya is confused and dismayed. Of course I was. Don't you remember the mornings I woke up ill and nauseated? She's unable to free herself from his hold. Thick fingers grasp her arm and tighten, her skin purpling underneath. He's not listening and continues uncoiling a twisted theory. Prahlad is not my son. When Indra came for you, you lay with him and then bore his child. Kaya's protests are silenced as she stares into her husband's agitated and clouded eyes. She has no defense against madness. Before the guards arrest her, she's able to send a messenger to search for her sister-in-law Holika. Please come home, she writes. We're in danger and need your help. Yaksh summons his son Prahlad. Is it true, he snarls? Do you pray to Vishnu, Parvati, and others in open disobedience to my laws? Do you dishonor my name by cavorting with commoners? His son responds, the forces of nature and the universe are more powerful than man's laws, and so I bow my head to those. My body and yours share the same fabric with the creatures in the woods and all the living things in our world and beyond. I was taught to honor the eternal and the ephemeral. Prahlad's riddles incense the king. If your gods and goddesses are in all creatures, then we will test your ideas, he smirks cruelly. So, Yaksh orders the guards to place his son in the jungle, but instead of trampling him, the wild elephants lift him on their backs. He then locks the boy in a room full of cobras, but the snakes remain docile and don't attack. The king has his son thrown off a cliff, but the boy descends safely on a cloud of dust. He has him fed poison herbs and mushrooms, but the toxins pass through him without effect. Each ruined trial leaves the king more bewildered and livid than the one before. He has one last plot. Bring me Holika, he bellows to the guards. Part 5, Fire. As she watches her elder brother coolly light the bonfire that's meant to kill his only child, she feels the memory of violence stir in her blood, dormant and expectant. The white-hot violence of a merciless bolt of lightning, of primeval blind emotion. Shall I strike now? It asks. No, she answers. Because also flashing through her are memories of comfort and family, her face nuzzled in a warm sable neck, falling asleep to the scent of fresh-turned earth and sandalwood, her ear tuned to the vibration of Amma's pulse, the first song she ever heard. They tell her that it's not her place to stop Yaksh or heal his broken heart and shattered mind. He had forced her to sit on the pile of dead wood with her nephew, knowing she possessed a veil magicked against fire. I know who's been protecting him from the elephants and cobras. The mountaintop fall and the poisoned food, he'd whispered in her ear earlier. Breath sour. But you're trapped now. You have to choose to save either him or yourself. I win either way. If you save yourself, he dies. And if you save him, you die, and will no longer be able to shelter him from whatever I do next. She makes her choice and chuckles darkly. It's fitting that a witch burn. Holika's nephew feels small and bird-like as he sleeps in her arms, long lashes fanned out thick against soft skin. His trusting hands wrap tight around her fingers, a habit he never outgrew. She had drugged him so he'd be spared from knowing of this last and most gruesome attempt on his life. She breathes in his boy wolf smell and nods at Kaya for the last time through the smoke and acrid heat of the flames, which are now making her vision shimmer and lungs lurch. She pulls the charmed cloak from her shoulders and wraps Prahlad in the protective dark of the cloth It had been a rare gift from her mother, enchanted to ward off fire, but it could only save one of them. As she sings the spell that shields him from the heat consuming her, she watches her skin curl and dissolve into dust, just like the splinters peeling off the branches from the fire. She remembers her mother Diti telling her when she was little how everything alive was made of the same material. So it was. Holika didn't fear returning to ash and merging with the luminous wood burning around her. Her mother would gather her bits and bones and scatter them in the rich ebony-silted streams near her beloved forests. Her brother would, in the end, be clawed and destroyed by the god Vishnu, manifesting as the man-lion avatar Narsimha. Kaya would tell Prahlad what his aunt had done to save him and raise him to be a better man than his father. Holika is no martyr. She'd be back soon enough. This life was melting into a fevered dream. She could already feel the swirling rush as her soul joined the river of samsara to be reborn again. Part 6. Poof! Diti's vision is temporarily blurred by an indigo-colored explosion. When she opens her eyes, she sees her grandson grinning impishly. Aji, it's spring! Prahlad shouts in greeting. He's an unrecognizable patchwork of rainbowed hues, a yellow cheek, purple hair, blue hands, and a once white kurta that's now streaked with colors. So it is. Janu, my dearest, I brought you fresh butter, Diti says as she hands him the heavy clay pot of sweet whipped cream. And this! She springs her other hand from behind her back and smears his face with pink powder. He shrieks, surprised, and then she swoops him into her strong arms in a bear hug, throwing him up in the air and catching him, their favorite game. Their laughter mingles with the sound of mirth and mischief ringing across town. Clouds of color bombs from families and friends pranking each other dot the city and mirror the riot of spring that's erupting across the countryside. Diti can sense her daughter Holika's presence in the unbridled abandon. Holika's legacy is this lush newness and the effervescent hope of a better world. The sky is now fully dark. They're blanketed in it. All Diti can see of Prahlad are his eyes. They're bright from reflecting the stellar light above. She smells a familiar scent and pulls him, beckoning him to follow. The scent grows stronger by the forest, and they find its source, a glossy green bush thick with night-blooming jasmine. She plucks the star-shaped flowers and places them in the boy's hair. As they walk home, hand in hand, she says softly, enticingly, Janu, have you ever heard the story of Draupadi? She was born from fire and fought in battle alongside her 5 husbands. Prahlad's hooked. Aji, please continue. Diti's gravelly voice dips and bends like the wind. It begins with a ridiculous family feud.